Good afternoon to Sao Martinho Do Porto, where we're here with Ray, who's visiting from Canada. You're on a Good Morning Portugal show, Ray. So it seems nice and close to the mic, if you will. What are you doing? What are you up to here?
We come over for a
Obrigado.
scouting trip. We've been here a couple of weeks now. A couple of weeks to go. Already decided to move over here, find down an area and somewhere to go to.
And how's it going so far?
It's going very well. It's amazingly good. I mean, we've done a lot of research already, but the people that we met, the place, it's just unbelievably good.
What's your first and foremost impression? Is it just friendliness of Portugal?
Yeah, totally.
And the people?
Totally.
We hear this, don't we, again and again, and it's proven to be true for you.
Definitely.
What about that Atelier de Dos place?
The day we discovered the place. Absolutely.
Superb, isn't it? The best donuts in all of the Silver Coast, possibly Western Europe.
Probably Western Europe. There was a young girl sat in the table behind us with some friends, and then some of the staff brought this cake out, and it was, I suppose, I don't know, nearly 18 inches high. Isn't it like a big Barbie doll?
Just one tier of 18 inches high?
It was, yeah, like a big Barbie doll. And what they'd done, they pushed the Barbie doll into the top of the sponge cake. And then they decorated it as if it was a dress. And they sort of dressed the top part Barbie as well.
Brilliant.
It was all overlaid in different icing and an absolute work of art. Never seen anything like it. And then they all sung happy birthday, and then it made everybody in the place was happy, obviously, smiling. And so we turned around to finish our coffee, and next thing she started cutting the cake, and they brought up a slice of cake for me.
Isn't that lovely?
Absolutely unreal.
Absolutely wonderful. If I press that button there, that should be better. I think sound has been restored now to our very patient audience. Let us know, folks, if you can hear Ray and I having a conversation. What's lovely, I think, about this setting, this context, what we do here, the live stream from Sao Martinho do Porto, is exchanging information. If you've got any questions, Ray, for other people, do feel free to ask them. What's your advice though to people who are following in your footsteps and having a look?
The advice really is to do your homework. For us, it was not so bad. We had our big culture shock when we went to North America, to Canada.
We're good. We've got sound now. T Duck, top producer T Duck, is working on it behind the scenes, and he's sorted it for us. Yeah, no worries. We've got it. Scott, thank you so much for being our remote producer. So sorry, Ray, do your research before you come over.
Yeah, I mean, we did a lot of homework. People at home were saying, well, have you been there before? And no, but for us, it's like going back to what we came from.
Which was
England and then Ireland.
Okay.
So this is the fourth country that we will be living in. So
yeah.
And what we've seen since we've been here just ticks all the boxes easily.
Right. Anything you're not too keen on, or is it generally been all tickety boo?
No, it's been pretty good, really.
Perfect. Perfect.
I mean, the bureaucracy, that's going to be a nightmare, but okay, it's Portuguese. It's
yeah, and they'll get us your training. Well, you're a pretty patient and stress-free fella anyway, aren't you? Canadian vibes.
Well,
I'm picking up on.
I think that's debatable.
Well, Canada 20 or 30 years ago, maybe.
Brought up in old England, I guess.
Yeah.
No, it's fine.
Nothing's going to phase you too much.
Not too much. No.
Right,
thank my dad for that. He was much the same. So
excellent. That sort of disposition. Brilliant. So you have settled then? It sounds like on the Silver Coast. All the ducks are in a row to be coming back.
I think so. It's just finding the town where we can get either a rental or buying the place.
You know what? It's the big challenge for a lot of people at the moment. How are you finding that?
Difficult. We're actually finding of the four countries we've lived in, it's probably the most difficult to get arranged.
Really?
Because
the whole process, or the accommodation part?
The accommodation part. I mean, other times where we've moved from country to country, we've just sort of turned up and found a rental or a motel or something to get by. Then the rental comes along. Then buying a house comes along. After coming here, you need to do all that up front. And there's difficulties with that.
Yes,
but we'll do it.
And we're doing what we can. I mean, I think what the great thing about coming to the meetup here is you get to hear about things that are not on the radar.
That's right.
Everyday folk. Have you enjoyed coming to this? Because you have come back for a second time, so I'm taking that as a good sign.
You'll probably have to put us with us again next week.
Okay.
Sorry, but
I'm delighted. I'm delighted that you like it.
But no, we coming to these meetings, and we went to another one in Nazaré, and some of the folks from here went there too. But doing that, you're talking to people that have been through the whole process.
Yeah.
You pick up contacts. I mean, we're going out to have a look at a house shortly now, and we're keeping touch with the realtors and people like the EI all the time. And,
what's your experience of EI?
Superb.
Yeah, that's Gilda and team, right?
Yeah. We got a Google call with Christina tomorrow.
Perfect. Oh, no nonsense, Christina.
She's good.
Yeah, and if anyone wants to migrate tomorrow evening as well. So, Ray, thank you so much. I know you've got to go off and do a viewing. No.
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll take it from there.
Yeah, perfect.
Need to sell the place in Canada first.
Okay, so if anybody wants to buy a place in Canada,
just give me a shout.
Yeah. Okay, which part of Canada are you from?
We're in southeast British Columbia.
Southeast British Columbia. What big towns would people know or cities?
Well, the town we're living in is called just been voted the best small town in British Columbia.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, nice place to buy then.
Yeah, ski hill, brambles, everything you want there.
Pretty good.
And I suppose we'll be leaving, so it'll be good.
You won't be a neighbour.
No.
There goes the neighbourhood.
There's a plus
there
point.
Goes the neighbourhood's moving to Portugal.
That's it.
By the sun. Oh, look, T-Duck's on the move now, with a little look around the bay here as well. So we've got some beautiful pictures in two ways, as well as us. The visions that you can see on the screen, me and Ray. We could do a Silver Coast calendar, couldn't we, Ray?
I suppose we could.
When you get established here.
I used to do a lot of photography, actually.
Did you?
I did, yeah. I've done calendars for...
Are you going to pick it up again when you come back?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Perfect. Okay, well, I know you got a house to look at. All the best.
Thank you,
and
Carl.
we'll see you maybe next week.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
Yeah,
okay.
You're not getting away with that.
A meetup regular now. 10th, the 11th visit is free. But make sure you get your loyalty card.
That's just the job.
Oh.
I'll hold you to that.
Okay, all right. Okay. Have a great day and all the best with your viewing.
Thanks.
All right, folks.
Bye-bye.
I'm going to just hand over to the beautiful images. Cheers, Ray. Beautiful images that you can see T Ducks having a little wander around the bay. And we'll come back if we can pester someone else into speaking to us here. And also take your questions, actually. I think there might be one or two on the screen here. Or maybe are they more production complaints? No, we're good. John Rooney saying hi, Ray. You guys have a little bit of a chat earlier. And we've got a question from, is that you, Scott? What is the big property up on the cliff? I don't know. I don't know the owner or the name of the place, but it's pretty special. They have been working on their access to it on the other side of the hill. I've got to take a layer off. It's getting really hot here. But yes, that is a beautiful property if it's the one I'm thinking of. I'll leave you to enjoy the mobile camera work of T-Duck. And I'll see, Scott, if I find out for you. Do you want to put an offer in? Is that the idea, Scott, for the property up on the hill there? Anyway, I'll leave you with a bit of music and some fabulous visuals here, and we'll be back when we're talking to somebody else. right. I think you're seeing the we that's Windows trying to help Windows you probably.
I think it's the French laptop.
Could be. I think people can hear us again now.
Why is
Bless you for bearing with us.
Why is the music still there? So is this a new stream? Did it start?
No, the stream carried on without us. Very thoughtfully. What we could do with that extra camera.
Sorry.
All right, come on, camera. Do your thing.
Feeling a bit sassy today.
Oh yeah. What's that down to?
It's the
house rest.
the red wine, thanks to Mel.
Yes, Mr. Nelson looking after us.
Did I tell you I talked to him about geocaching earlier today and showed him there will be.
Oh, okay.
I need to put it together. I need to register. I need permission of
got you.
the. And so I asked him today. We talked about it. And he said, "Oh yeah,
Makes good commercial sense. Doesn't it?
it really does because people will come here looking for the cash, and then some of the delicious soup. I have to say this soup today was excellent.
Was it? What was it?
A sopa de potato and it was very hearty. I couldn't even finish it.
I'm going to go for a different tactic here. We're going to spin the camera around.
I could spin that camera around.
No, we're good now. Look at this.
Look at that. That's Carl. I see you now.
The man in the shadows is the man, the legend, the T-Duck.
Whack, whack.
So let's get rid of that music. I think we're in business now.
Why am I in the dark?
Everybody's very good with us.
Of course, I'm always in the dark.
It's some very intelligent software. It figures out. Oh,
that wasn't the little dog that was just here.
It wasn't the dog.
I hope he didn't run off.
We've got a little mascot with us today, haven't we?
He's
Oh, he's
coming
back again now. He's a rascal. He's winding up all the dogs in the neighbourhood. So here we are.
Oh,
T-Duck.
that one's over there.
Excellent videography earlier on.
I can't even see myself. I'm
I
in the
can
dark,
see
but
you.
that's good. That's cool.
I can see you, and people can see your sort of
Hiding in the
enigmatic,
shadows over here.
legendary self there. If you've got any questions for the great producer T-Duck, look, hola T-Duck from Scott.
Hola amigos. Boa tarde.
And John Gibson. John, was it you who sent me that headline about the golden visa, which has caused a little bit of a stir? The Soldad life. Hola, all happy hump day.
Did you know when
thank
is
you.
the golden visa going to go away? All I saw was the headline, and that they were going to end it. But do you think they'll really end it? And if they do, when do you think that's going to happen?
I had a phone conversation with somebody this lunchtime about that. Every now and then, it's a political football. I'm sure you won't be surprised.
Well, yeah,
to
they've
hear
raised
that.
what, almost $500 million?
Yeah.
Or euros.
And depending where you are on the political spectrum, people, I guess, who aren't necessarily in charge of or concerned about incoming receipts, just go with their ideology, which is this is a disgraceful and cynical scheme whereby people just buy a passport, have a property in Lisbon, inflate the prices, and don't even live here. That's one view on the ideological level and politically. And then there are more pragmatic folks who say, actually, this is quite good for the country.
It is quite good. We'll just take their money and make them wait in line and not ever actually issue the visa, which is what I hear is actually
That's true. That is also true, isn't it? CEF haven't made the best job of it in getting to people.
Can you say that word on the air?
What, CEF? Not without people booing and hissing and throwing rotten vegetables and fruit.
I hope we don't get canceled on YouTube for that.
I don't. Given that they struggle to get to people's visa applications, I'm guessing they haven't got enough time to come after us for saying things about them online, right? I'm guessing.
No, they probably do have time for that. That's why they don't have time for the visas.
Okay. Well, we'll see. The headline was something along the lines of the golden visa will be going and it will be decided or processed next Tuesday. This is what will be that? The 21st, I guess, a week after Valentine's, 14th yesterday, 21st, and it's going to be put before a ministers' meeting, along with some other politically sensitive issues. I think to make sure people can afford to live in the city of their birth, which is no bad thing. And I think it is. It's mainly these issues are mainly political footballs being kicked to and fro across the political spectrum divide coalition. And some cynical people say it's never going to happen. They won't get rid of it. They'll talk about it because it needs to be talked about, and in true political style, wherever you are in the world, the issues are brought up as though they're going to be dealt with, and then they're not dealt with. And I think that's what the people who know about these things, their money is on that. It just comes up as something that needs to be talked about to satisfy political opponents and partners, because it's a coalition, and then nothing ever happens ultimately.
But most of the money that comes in for the golden visa is going to the property owners who are selling the properties.
Right.
I mean, what does CEF charge? A few €100? They're not really. The government isn't getting that money. They're getting the taxes, obviously, from the purchase sales.
GDP, I guess, isn't it seen as GDP?
Okay, yeah, I'll give you that.
Rather than a direct government. I mean, there will be other taxes, won't there? A property tax and so on.
Yeah, but most of the property taxes when you purchase the property.
Yeah.
It's not like the U.S. where they.
Yeah, well, I guess they're looking at GDP. And again, cynically, if you were to say, by some measures, let's say EU funding, that might base its decision to give bazooka money, as they call it, into Portugal, they might want to see a spike in GDP.
Okay.
As a very broad brush judgment of how the country's performing.
So it's about numbers.
I think it might be about numbers. I think so much of politics seems to be about numbers, doesn't it? Rather than
the people
policy.
who come here, including the golden visa,
or not, as it could.
They're going to be paying taxes in this country as well.
If they're here in the couple of weeks a year that they're.
I mean, I'm not sure about that. I'm here on on a regular visa,
yeah,
on a residence visa, so I pay taxes.
Yes.
But if you come in on the golden visa, but you don't live here, because with the golden visa, you only have to spend,
a couple of
2
weeks
weeks here?
Couple of weeks,
so do you still have to pay taxes in this country?
Not necessarily.
Income taxes?
If you organise your tax, it's not a requirement of the residency permit. No.
It is for me.
Yes.
I pay taxes in the U.S. and here.
Yes. Yeah.
So, but if you're on a golden visa, do you
you could orientate yourself differently.
Really?
Yes. And hence
that's what they need to fix.
Exactly, and hence I guess it's the old Bible saying, isn't it? To them that have, it shall be given.
I mean, because they're getting. If you get the golden visa, you're getting a passport. You're getting citizenship.
Yes.
So you should absolutely.
Eventually, you're getting residency first, and then after 5 years you can apply.
No, with the golden visa, I think you get the residency soon.
The residency straight away.
I mean the passport.
It's not passport for sale. That is the most cynical kind of golden visa.
Because people do call it that, passport for sale.
Yeah,
but it's not.
Right. You have to wait your 5 years,
and you have to pass the
A2. Yes,
because that's what I have to do.
Yeah, everyone has to do that, and I guess what people find where people find a great relief with that process is it's often based on attendance rather than ability. The A2, so you can do an A2 course, and as long as you've gone, which is not easy for somebody on a golden visa, to be fair, because it requires months of turning up, sometimes twice a week at a government institution.
Right,
To
you
learn
go
your
to like the
Portuguese.
local high schools or something.
Yeah.
We want to do that.
Yes.
We've been here almost 2 years now, so we have 3 more years to pass that test.
Yeah.
I think I better get started.
Yes. Well, yeah. By the time you get to, if you are, I think the current, what I've heard recently, the current waiting time is about a year to 18 months anyway before you get your passport, having applied for citizenship.
Even if you get there, okay. Well, that's okay.
It gives you a little bit more time.
It does give me more, but you still have to get that A2 certificate,
A2, yes.
and then you wait the time.
I'm not sure about that. I think you have to show your certificate.
You have to be a resident for 5 years.
Yeah, absolutely right. Yes, of course. You
before you can turn in that certificate.
I don't know. I know the waiting time will be a while, as it is for all printing of documents. But I think the processing time is lengthy as well, and getting appointments. So the whole thing can take up to another 18 months on top of your first 5 years.
Yeah, that's a long time.
It
I should
is,
take this moment just
know.
to say that this is excellent wine that they have here at Palmera. Nelson will take care of you. They've got an excellent bean soup. They've got the
ham, egg, and chips is good.
The chips. Yeah, all of the food here is really good. Very cool place.
And a view.
And a view to dive for.
Not us two.
The view is absolutely amazing. Yeah, you don't want to look at us.
But if I spin it round, like, if you've just joined us,
I just wanted to throw that little plug in there. For
it's a great plug, a very excellent plug, and I totally agree. And that's why we love being here, because he's so hospitable and easygoing, as many Portuguese people are, but I think especially so with Nelson. So we'll talk whilst you're looking at that view. Hey, boys, looking great. I'm not sure if Mrs. M is talking about the view or us there.
Oh, look, it looks much better now. Look at that. Wow.
Isn't that beautiful? That
Yes.
shine on the water there.
I'm just seeing the shine of the sun on this computer screen. I'm really having a hard time seeing the screen at
shine
all.
on the.
Isn't
on the
it a
screen.
beautiful day today? The
It's
sun,
about
it's warm,
time.
and it's like the middle of February. What's wrong with this? This is unbelievable to me.
Oh, it's great.
Isn't it great?
It feels
I
like
know, I'm
spring
wearing
is on the
jacket.
way.
I'm actually take off my jacket.
I'm down to my last layer here, and I'm baking in the sun.
You're sitting in the sun. I'm not.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, and it's absolutely beautiful. And I would say well deserved after what feels like a few months of rain here. But I won't go on about that. You handsome men. The view is good too.
Well.
Hello. So life in Lisbon. You've been here quite a while now, haven't you?
It'll be 2 years here in a month or so.
Really?
2 years. Can you believe that?
To me, it's flown by. Same for you.
It has flown by.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, because I was having a conversation with Raquel on Let's Get Down to Business, the show, the theme this morning, and some people are asking questions about, a 12-month lease. That's a bit long. I don't want to commit myself to that when I first arrive. It flies by, doesn't it?
We did a 12-month lease, and a few months later, we extended it to 3 years. And
Okay,
I'm ready to extend it for a couple more years. I don't want to move.
Yeah.
I love where I'm at.
But there's enough going on in that first year, isn't there, for the time to fly by and not to have to worry about moving again or
Absolutely.
have a base camp.
Our plan was to come to Lisbon for a year and maybe move out into the country. We're not really city folk, but we just fell in love with Lisbon. What an amazing city. It's so friendly. It's so convenient. Not like any other city I've lived in or even visited. It's a very different place. And it's a great walking city if you don't mind the hills. There's so much to do.
How far have you walked in the last few months, Tito?
Since November 1st, we have walked 600 and something kilometers, enough to walk from Faro all the way to the Spanish border.
That's great, isn't it?
In about 3.5 months. So I'm averaging a little over 4 miles a day.
Perfect.
Which is crazy because some days we don't walk at all.
Now I'm
when
interested. You're country folk, I think you just said. Is that right?
Yes, for the most part.
But Lisbon has been the exception to break
Lisbon
the
has
rule.
been the exception. Yeah, and we lived in Sacramento in the city, and wasn't real fond of living there, but it had to be close to the jobs.
Yeah.
And when we retired, we moved to Texas, out in the country, and I loved it out in the country. But the problem with living in the country, I do like it. I like the quiet and the peace. Is you end up staying at home for 2, 3, 4 weeks at a time, and you just kind of start fading away. You don't really go walking. We had a big house, and you just kind of walk from one end to the other. And
Shuffle
I
backwards
worked on
and
my
forwards.
projects. I had a little workshop, and I did enjoy that. But I was getting old really fast.
Really?
Really.
So that's
It's not the most healthy of things.
Well, that's interesting insight for people. I was going to say advice. It's not really advice, is it? But it's a fascinating insight. On the one hand, and this has happened for us as well, Team Munson, is how you imagined you'd be living here doesn't always work out. It can turn out quite differently. And I'm fascinated by that idea that it going out into the country, into kind of dotage and being there for weeks on end is an aging thing. Is that right?
It really is. It really is. We would go on vacation. We'd go to Europe or around the U.S. and we would do all this walking and live in the cities, and we really enjoyed it. But I would always say I wouldn't want to live in this city.
Right.
It's a great place to visit, but I wouldn't want to live there. And Lisbon is the exception.
And now you do.
Lisbon is the exception. I really do. We don't live in the tourist area. I wouldn't want to live there.
Yeah.
In Baixo, Chiado. I mean, it's a fun place to visit. We go there very often, actually.
Yeah.
There's a lot of places that we enjoy going to. But we live just outside of the tourist area, in a Portuguese neighborhood, and we've become part of the neighborhood. We go to the coffee shop every morning, and we know the same people. And even though we don't speak the language, we still communicate. And when I was in the hospital for a week, and it was funny because when I came back, everybody was giving me hugs, and I don't know what they were saying, but it was really cool. And one of the ladies that comes in every morning is a nurse at a different hospital. And she was like getting updates on me over at the hospital that I was in and sharing it with everybody. And so it was very good. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
It is beautiful. And we love it. That's why I said we don't want to move.
So a little note then to the other selves tuning in, and people do tune in to find out what's going on over here, keeping their pilot light lit about moving to Portugal, the Portuguese pilot light. I think that's fascinating. Coming here for a certain quality of life, I guess that box has been ticked.
The quality of life here is far superior to anywhere else that we've ever lived in the U.S.
Oh, okay.
And that would be California, Texas, Florida, and Nevada.
Oh, all of them?
Yes.
Right, okay.
Oh, absolutely.
So quality of life, great, but how you imagined it coming to you has changed, i.e. you're in the city and not in the country.
Yes, exactly. Because we loved Seville. We went to Seville. We went to Madrid. Madrid was pretty crazy, like big cities in the U.S. Seville was a little more friendly, but I would have lived on the outskirts of Seville. But Lisbon, no, I love it. It's very different.
Turn up for the book. Same for us. We imagined we'd be living in a renovation project in the middle of the countryside in central Portugal, and here we are, a seaside town in the suburbs.
You do live in a city.
A city.
I would consider this a city.
Okay.
You're a village.
I mean,
it's not big city. It's not Caldas de Rainha, but it's
true. But we never imagined this. We thought we'd been a little village.
What is the population here? Do you know?
To my embarrassment and shame, I don't know Sao Martinho's population.
10,000.
That's the figure that came to mind. Yes,
that would be my guess.
Yeah.
There's probably a lot of seasonal.
Yes, and 50,000 in August.
50. I was 150.
I mean, they're setting up on the green at the moment. Oh, and the beach. There's all sorts going on in front of us here. T-Duck with I think preparations for the Pirate Festival. So that's another.
You got to be kidding me, mate.
San Martinho Do Porto.
They're moving along pretty quickly. We came in this morning. They were just putting in foundations.
They don't mess
now
about.
All the beams are up.
Yep, that's going to be the stage. I would have thought the sound stage, and there's a few obligatory here in Portugal. These little tents, these are going to be where you can get your bifana, right, or your donuts, or buy candy floss and these sorts of things.
Or more important, red and white wine.
Red and white wine as well, which will be very good value and will lubricate the atmosphere, ready for partying.
The wine does flow very freely here. We go to the Symphony in Lisbon, and if you went to the Symphony or another similar event in the States, you would expect to pay at least $10 for a glass of wine.
Yes.
Maybe 15, even 20, depending on the.
Because it's part of the business model, right?
Right, exactly. But at the Symphony here, a glass of wine is €2.
Isn't that great?
The first time we went, I went, no, are you sure? No, we got 2 glasses. What? Yeah, that's impressive. But wine is. It's the staple here. It
is.
It's very different. It's treated as something very differently.
And that cynicism is not present, is it? Of like, actually, we've got a captive audience here. This is what I'm used to, coming from the UK, and I suspect it's the same in the US, where the UK takes many of its leads. Hey, we've got a captive audience of several hundred people here tonight. They're not going to be going to any other bar. Let's just make this wine really expensive. They've got no choice.
Right, exactly. A hot dog and a beer, oh, that'll be $38.50.
Yes. And it's just the opposite here, isn't it?
It is just the opposite. It's, it's much more at a human level here.
Yes, that's the word.
It's I don't want to say socialist, but it's social.
Yeah.
It's very social.
Yes.
And it's people connect. We have more of a social life here than anywhere we've ever lived.
Yeah.
And it's funny, the calendar is always booked. I mean, in Texas, I would, like I said, sit at home for 2 or 3 weeks, and now I've got lunch on, on Thursday with Boaz, and we're seeing Side on Monday. We go see Pedro and Manuel on, on Thursday. It's like there's constantly people always calling and just wanting to get together.
Well, how about that then? Because you talked, didn't you, about, or we were discussing how there's a possible aging effect of locking yourself away in the countryside. The opposite seems to be true in the city. One can stay sort of rejuvenated and vital by being in the heartbeat.
And I'm not saying that I didn't like fading away in the countryside. It wasn't horrible. I mean, I did enjoy it. I had my projects and things, but we've always wanted to live in Europe and experience this as a life rather than just a vacation.
Yeah.
But as the day to day, make this the norm, and I could never go back. We just recently took a trip back to Texas for a week to take care of some business and bring a few things back with us. 6 suitcases full of stuff. And I can't see myself ever going back and living there.
That's interesting.
It would not be.
The longbow has been burnt.
Yeah, it is. The bridges have been burned.
So in conclusion then, because I even though we basically work together every day, don't we? With your wonderful contributions
so, yes.
to the morning show. You'll see T-Duck on the morning show. But what I've never asked you is like the T-Duck's formula, because this is all about these live streams, the show. It's all about helping people move to Portugal and enjoy their life here. But I don't think we've ever had the T-Duck guide to moving to Portugal. What are your top tips to people considering this move? I guess especially from your point of view, from the United States. What ducks, T-Duck, should be in a row for people making that move?
Wow, what I say, the most important thing is to do as much research as possible, learn as much as you can, and really try and visualize. Wow.
Visualize.
Is there any more wine here? Visualize yourself living here. And again, just learn as much as you can. Watch Carl's show. Watch Good Morning Portugal. There's so much great information there. There's a lot of entertainment there too. I mean, It is fun, but those tips, that information, that's really, and ask questions.
Yeah.
And ask questions.
And we're here to answer those questions, aren't we?
We try.
Yeah.
We try. I try and scan the chat and always try and answer questions when I'm there.
Yeah.
And help out. But that's really important, is
Research.
to learn as much as possible. And of course, if you can, take the the scouting trip and come over here and see what it's like, which is something that we weren't able to do.
Well, that's interesting. That's your advice, but you didn't do it. You did a virtual scout, basically.
We weren't able to do it. We had traveled all over Europe. We had just spent some time in Spain and Italy, but we had never been to Portugal when we moved here. The first time we were in Portugal was the day we arrived, and we had already rented an apartment.
Kind of counterintuitive, right?
But again, there's so much information out there.
Yes,
it's out there.
But that is pretty extraordinary to have never been here, and to say with some certainty we're never going back.
I think we knew what to expect.
Okay.
Yeah. We had traveled Europe for 25 years,
right?
But just never Portugal. And again, our intent was to move to Spain because I do speak Spanish.
Yes.
And the more research we did, and thanks to Carl here, I mean, that's watching your show. It was just like Portugal made a lot more sense to us.
Okay.
And the weather's even nicer than Spain, unless you live in the south.
Sorry, Stu.
Hey, Stu, if you're listening.
So quite amazing. Anything else that people might like to know from your experience of like not having been here, never going back? That's basically the bottom line, isn't it?
Well, you know what?
I'm so happy here.
I like to do a lot of things myself. I think I'm a self-starter. I prefer to do things my way.
Yeah.
But for the move here, we used Emigrante.
Yeah.
We used AE.
Gilda
and I cannot say enough good things about it. Gilda's amazing. Her team is amazing. We're our 2-year renewals coming up.
Yes.
And I wouldn't even try to do this on my own. I know you can go online, you can do it yourself, but I would not take that chance.
Right.
When it comes to other things like, the power and the electricity or the gas or the water, I'll go do that myself. I'm not worried. The worst thing that can happen is they could turn the power off for a couple of days. I can live with that.
Not completely.
But I do not want to get kicked out of this country.
Right.
I do not want to make a mistake. And also right now, Seth isn't taking appointments.
Okay.
And so I would be online every day for like hours trying to get this appointment. Instead,
Let them do it. Let the professionals get on with it.
They do what they do best. And also, if I have any issues, because I guess if your residency expires, you can still stay here.
Yes.
It's good till the end of the year, from what I understand.
So I understand.
But
yeah.
if I get into trouble, if I run into any issues, I can just say, here, call my attorney.
Yeah.
They'll take care of it. They'll tell you what's going on.
Yes.
I've already applied. Here's my papers.
That's good.
And
that's,
so I think that's, for me, that's what was important.
Okay, good advice. One more thing. Sorry, it has just occurred to me. You haven't, as far as I'm aware, traveled that much around Portugal yet, have you?
We have.
Yeah.
We have.
Right.
We've been to the Alentejo a few times. We've been up to Braga.
Okay.
In the Figueira de Foz.
Oh, okay.
We come
I
here
had this
and
impression that you hadn't traveled Portugal as much as you'd have
We
liked
have
to.
not been to Porto.
Okay.
We've driven by, going to Braga,
Yes.
and we have not been south of Lisbon other than Setúbal to south.
Okay.
But I'm not really interested in the Algarve. I'll leave that to the people who like the beach. I grew up near the beach. It's not my thing. If I want to go to the beach, I want to come right here.
To Sao Martinho Do Porto.
I want to come right here.
And what are your next places to go to in Portugal? Tamar we talked about, didn't we? You'd like
Tamar
to visit
is
Tamar?
very high on the list. Porto is high.
You're
going to
go to Porto, yeah.
Yeah, and you caught me off guard there. I have a list on
A Portugal
my phone,
list.
but yeah, I do have a Portugal list. And again, if they don't approve our renewal soon, we'll be traveling only in Portugal because I'm afraid to leave the country.
But that's no bad thing, is it?
No, it's
There's
not
enough to do here, even in this tiny country, which it fits into one of your United States very easily. There's still loads to do here, isn't there?
Yes,
And a
as I've
diversity.
said before, Texas, just the state of Texas, is 7.5 times larger than Portugal.
It's incredible, isn't
geographically. That is amazing.
But still, that's not for you, not been giving you any sense of
So-
limitation or
None
claustrophobia.
at all. I could live here the rest of my life. In fact, I hope to live here the rest of my life.
Boom! What a great note. That is not. If this was a newspaper article, T-Duck, that's what I would pick out as the editor.
Okay.
I could live here for the rest of my life.
There's your
That
headline.
is a glowing endorsement, isn't it?
It is. We love it here. I can't imagine a better retirement. Coming from the States, I can't imagine a better place to go and retire. And if there was somewhere better, we would probably go.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah, okay.
This is it.
Fascinating. Just as when we thought we were about to finish, a couple of quickies. We are like T-Duck and Brenda. We've been to Europe, but we've never been to Portugal before moving. No regrets, same as you.
Oh, hey, Bob.
14 months now. How about that? Hadn't been, but just have decided this is it.
This
and
is
loving it. What's the wine you're drinking?
It was the House Red. I couldn't tell you what it was.
That's
Whatever
as much
else.
as we can disclose.
Anytime you go into a restaurant, a lot of times they'll have different wines. But if you order the House Red, you will not go wrong.
Well said.
It's simple as that. They're not going to serve a bad wine as their house wine.
Okay, maybe that's the headline. Great, T-Ducks. How nice that we get to talk for a change.
Yeah.
Because we don't, do we? We kind of working side by side rather than face to face.
Yeah. Well,
thank you so much.
We have done some shows and spent some time like this. But I did have some health issues and just haven't really felt like doing this. But I'll be doing more in the future.
Excellent. I'm so glad
For
to hear
sure.
that. All right. And maybe we'll see more of you on the
It's a lot of
morning
fun.
show
I
as
enjoy it. You
Cool.
make it easy.
well. Good. I'm so glad to hear that. We'll leave you a little bit more music and that beautiful view, folks. And we've got other people who I've not seen for a little while here at the meetup who I'd love to say hello to. Oh, excuse me. I just did a little burp on you. Sorry. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Okay. Cue music. Ciao. Bye for now.
Ciao for now.